And Mitoma wins it in the dying moments. Justice, really. Brighton, the better team. Brighton robbed of 2 red cards, clear red cards that Liverpool should have received during that game. Brighton, for me, played the better football. Brighton were the most aggressive team. Brighton had the best chances. The referee and VAR did their utmost best to keep Liverpool in this tie. A clear red card for Konate. Whether it's a second yellow or a straight red card, he should have been gone. Moments later, this disgusting tackle from Fabinho when he came on. And you're thinking, have they done it again? Has VAR saved Liverpool in the FA Cup? But there he is, the man of the moment, one of the most informed players in Premier League football, one of the best players currently on form in Europe. Mitoma gives Liverpool a hematoma with a sensational goal at the end. The dink, the twist, the silks, the skills, bang, and Liverpool Football Club are out, and your season is practically done. Your season is practically over, and it is January. I need your instant reaction to that, Liverpool fans. I need to know how you're feeling. No real aggression, no real control, no real chances outside of Mo Salah. We'll get onto him later. The fall off of Mo Salah this year has been massive, considering how well he started. But what a victory for Brighton. Never won a trophy in their career. This is the greatest Brighton team to ever exist. And they've lost Basuma. They've lost Potter. They've lost Trossard. And they're probably going to lose Caicedo at some point. And they're still beating the big boys. They're still delivering. They absolutely are. What an FA Cup tie. The most historic and beautiful football competition in the world. It never ceases to fail us. It never ceases to amaze us. And it never ceases to entertain us. But Brighton deserved it for me. Brighton, outright, the better team. They played the better football with lesser quality players across the park. Legit. A lot less quality on the field of play, but they were the most dominant team. 13 shots to 8, 55% of the ball. It wasn't as dominant as the league game a few weeks ago. Liverpool were better. And I think Liverpool, since young Bajcetic has come into the middle, there's a bit more energy in there. But he ain't ready yet to be doing this. There's so much pressure on that young man. Thiago, though, had another game that just watched him go by. He's one of those players at this age who looks good doing nothing. He's a dosser now. He's a dosser. He ain't a player anymore. And Keita, the gauge is just a walking injury. A walking injury. You look at the defense today. There ain't a defender in this Liverpool team that walks with any credit today, any credibility. To a degree, like Trent Alexander-Arnold, brilliant clearance off the line early on in the game, but faded, and Mitoma had him on toast. Literally, Trent on toast for the majority of this game. Con artist at the back. What's he doing? Should have been sent off. Then look at the attack. Look, Elliott took his goal brilliantly. I thought he did well today. Mo Salah, the fall off of Mo Salah is crazy. Now, I'm not suggesting he's finished. To say Mo Salah's finished is hyperbolic, stupid. But the drop-off is crazy. Legitimately crazy how well he started this season and at the level of performance. And I have to say about Cody Gakpo, a.k.a. Guffpo. He's fart, bruv. He is legitimate fart. He is a wet, eggy excretion of wind. That's all he is. That's it. Gakpo is one of the worst footballers I've ever seen come to Liverpool. He's got a bad touch. He can't dribble. He can't pass. He doesn't get into goal-scoring opportunities. And it's funny because Man United were after him. And the idea was to turn him into a central striker. That's what the talk has been in the Netherlands. He's going to be central. He's going to be central. We know his predominant career has been out on the left, but he's going to be central. This guy, they've got to get him out on the wing. But the irony about him going out on the wing is, in my opinion, Jota and definitely Luis Diaz are better. So what's the point of buying Gakpo? What is a Gakpo? That money should have been spent on a midfield player because the midfield is weak. And I know you've got injuries, but you don't need Gakpo. He is the worst attacker at Liverpool. And you just dropped 40 M's on him. What does he do? Nothing. At least Darwin Núñez, when he's not scoring, is getting involved, creating opportunities, causing havoc, roughing people up, getting into the right positions. This guy does nothing. Liverpool fans should be furious. Furious with that signing. They really, really should be. And listen, I took it on the chin that you hijacked Man United, but oh my God. I'm licking my fingers at it. I'm licking my fingers at it. Weghorst is better than Gakpo. Weghorst is a better striker than Gakpo as a number 9, not as a winger. But the point is, you've got Luis Diaz coming back, who's better than Gakpo. I'm not saying you shouldn't have him at your club long term, but you need a midfielder and you've gone for him. It's crazy. It's legitimately crazy. And then there's Mo Salah. Listen, everyone knows I think Mo Salah is top class, and he's been top class. And this downturn of form doesn't undo the brilliance of him, doesn't undo the player that he has been for Liverpool. It can't do. It's impossible. But this is a serious fall off from him as well. Like, this is a serious, serious fall off of form. And I kind of put it down to what he's playing with. And that's not an excuse for him. Some people say, oh, wait, I'm not making excuses. That isn't what I'm trying to do. I'm just looking at this from the perspective of he's now being pushed out wide more. He isn't the key central figure that often. He's not playing with as much technical quality around him. And I've never claimed that he was the most technically gifted footballer in the world. He's very good technically. You don't get to this level without having a good, being good technically. But it's this level, it's kind of like with Firmino and Mane around him, who were highly technically proficient and a workhorse, workman-like industrial midfield. Mo Salah could shine and his best assets could come to fruition, which was scoring goals. But now it's almost like he's being asked to be a playmaker. He's being asked to knit the team together. He doesn't have the facilities for that. That isn't what he's great at doing. You don't ask him to do that. It's like, look how good Rashford is on the wing when he has to attack. But don't ask him to be the target man who holds the ball up. It's not his job. It's not what he's good at doing. Doesn't make sense. Liverpool have made a catastrophic mistake with Mo Salah. They have invested 350 grand a week into his salary, but then changed the system and his role to a point where you're getting the very worst out of him. It's a galaxy brain clusterfuck. A catastrophic mistake from Klopp to sign off on players, change Mo Salah from what he's great at to what he's average at, and pay him £350,000 a week in the process. It is one of the worst decisions that Liverpool have made in the past decade. Legitimately. That and signing Andy Carroll for £50 million are probably neck on neck. Head to head. Nose to nose. Look, I'm a Man United fan. Do I like seeing Liverpool fail? Yes. But as a football fan, I need to be fair and balanced here. You guys should be... I didn't put a light on. You guys should be angry. Let me turn this other light on. Sorry. That's better. There we go. I was going, what's so dark over the shoulder? It's crazy. It's about getting the best out of people. This super chat here says, Terry told you Mahrez better than Salah, carried by Mane and Firmino. Fraud, you owe me and Lee an apology. Listen, him being poor right now doesn't undo how great he's been. But it's about playing someone in their best position. If you turn around to KDB and said, you're no longer an attacking midfielder, you're going to be a holding midfield player this year, you wouldn't see the same KDB because he's not a holding midfield player. It's about playing someone in their natural position. If you put Mahrez into a more central role, or his job is to play more central, hold the ball up and try and bring everybody else into play and not go at his fullback as an attacking winger, you wouldn't get the same out of him. Horses for courses, my dear friend. Horses for courses. Before I do more super chats as well, I do want to say that Liverpool today, they rightfully went out. But what is wrong with VAR at the moment? Legitimately. Absolutely, catastrophically, what is wrong with VAR? It's not fit for purpose. Offside, yes. Goal line technology, yes. But what's the point? We saw 2 clear red cards today. The first here with Konate. A clear forearm smash in the back of the head when he's running for on goal. It's a foul. They can't bring it back for a yellow, and they can't give it as a foul because it's not a penalty, and I get that. But he's denied a clear goal scoring opportunity. McAllister's running through clean on goal. He's going to get a shot off. It's a red card. And then a few moments later, we see Fabinho's tackle. The fact that this was reviewed and they saw it as not a clear and obvious error is crazy. What the hell is a clear and obvious error? We need to have this communication now. That makes sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. That is not a yellow card in 95% of any football fan's mind. So therefore, giving a yellow is a clear and obvious mistake, isn't it? I'm so glad Brighton went through, because if they had to go for a replay at Liverpool, they may have lost. You know, going to Anfield is still very difficult, even though Brighton are in good form and Liverpool aren't playing great. But this isn't corruption towards Liverpool. We've seen this loads in recent days. We saw yesterday an offside decision given against Man United, where it was clearly onside by the letter of the law. The ball wasn't deliberately played to Weghorst. There was a clear play for the ball from the Reading defender. The ball bounced 20 foot in the air before coming back down to Weghorst, goes to Rashford at the back post, scores. They said offside Weghorst. It isn't. Mistake. We saw yesterday on Friday in Arsenal's game. The ball went towards Saka. Saka literally put his hands up and stopped playing. The defender bodges his clearance, falls to an Arsenal player. Ball's played through the Trossard, who's clean through on goal. Saka was given as offside. That isn't within the law. We've seen many penalties in the last few weeks not given. You look back at the replay and go, that's getting overturned now by VAR, clear penalty. And then nothing's given. I understand they don't want VAR re-refereeing games, but no, they should, because they make these mistakes. Imagine Brighton went out. After Liverpool should have lost at least 2 players on the field of play with 10 minutes to go. VAR should re-referee everything if it isn't right, so we get the correct decisions. It's crazy for me. And by the way, I didn't think it was handball in the build-up to Liverpool's goal. I don't think it touched Naby Keita's arm. So, I don't think that was, legitimately. For me, I'm not even, it's not even a Liverpool thing today. It's the officials. It's a disgrace how bad they've become. Some super chats here. Then we're going to get young Tom on to have his say with us today. This here says, don't forget Andy Carroll's tackle on Ericsson. Yeah, I mean, he got sent off later. I mean, not being overturned. It's crazy. Like, Howard Webb's come in, and I don't like what he's done to. I was a massive advocate of VAR. I'm beginning to dislike it because they're not overturning the wrong decisions. Can we see all the United fan clips cry about Gakpo? Listen, I told every United fan, except that he rejected us on the chin. If it doesn't work out, it's more embarrassing. Do you know what I'm saying? It's awful. He's awful. Much love, Terry. Happy to see Liverpool go out. Klopp has to go. Era has come to an end, is what I cut my has got to say here. Mitoma is the 3rd best winger in the league. Listen, on form 20, he is. He's sensational at this moment in time. Terry, I want Mitoma and Alexis McAllister at Manchester United. Yeah, don't let Brighton fans hear you say that. They get very angry about the big boys wanting their players. They don't like it at all. They get very, very angry indeed. Cody Wakpo, just Black Nunez. This guy is rubbed, is what AJ says. A Gakpo is the new name for a stopgap. Do you know what's crazy? I know he was a lot cheaper than Anthony, but Anthony is like had man of the match performances. Was the first Man United player in history to score in his first 3 games. He's dangerous in the majority of matches that he plays, and he's a threat. He keeps the shape together. He defends well, and he gets called out every game. And I'm hearing nothing about Gakpo. I understand he's a lot cheaper, but the hype around him was massive. Awful. Here we go again, Terry. Change of style, surely. Well, a lot of Liverpool fans have been calling it out. Play the diamond, play the diamond, play the diamond, and Klopp isn't doing it. It's funny how VR acts for the goal and not for the tackles. Yeah, it's crazy how they... Oh, yeah, exactly. They overturn... I mean, offside is about... is it or isn't it? It's meant to be objective. But then within the subjectivity element, they're now giving... They overturn every subjective decision pretty much in favor of the team that's conceded. which doesn't make any sense when it comes onto the field of play, all the subjective decisions are now going in the direction of the proposed aggressor or perpetrator. It's Howard Webber's ruined it. Ray here with laughing emojis, having a bit of a giggle here at Liverpool and their poor performances as of late. And I get that. I totally get why you would do that. Mitoma, what a guy, Terry. Where do they find these guys? Send the Scousers home. Ha, 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 is what Baz1 has got to say. Stephen here, big Liverpool fan, says, I can't believe the subs Klopp made. How come Fabinho and Hendo were so great in the last few seasons and now are being subbed for by Tesic? We are done out here. And Priest says, Ten Hag pump faked Klopp into signing Gakpo. Listen, I'm happy to go with that narrative. Steve-O here says, Liverpool fans will still say they will get top 4. Yeah, I don't know any Liverpool fan that's saying that. Listen, don't follow idiots online that don't use their real face and name because they're just clowns. They're not real people. But there's no Liverpool fan that thinks they're getting top 4. There isn't a Liverpool fan on earth who believes they're getting top 4. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week. None of them believe this. I watched the Eredivisie since forever. Anthony is way better than Gakpo. Never wanted him at United. He will flop. Lengan Sweet says, you know it's bad when Nunes is better than flop Gakpo. Also, Luis Diaz is better than Salah, Terry, making excuses. Look, Mo Salah's brilliant. Mo Salah's world-class. He's just in a really bad space at the minute because he's being used. I'll give you an example, Lengan Sweet. I dare you to play Haaland as a playmaker. Play Haaland as a playmaker and let's see how good he is. But as a number 9 striker, he's world-class, right? Number 9 striker, he's world-class. You know I'm right, brother. You know I'm right. If you can get out of that, you need to get out of that. Don't twist it into another claim, Lang and Sweet. You get out of that one, Perry, and we see what happens. Come on now, Langy. Let's do it. Young Tom's joining me now. He looks fuming. He's going to go off, I think. I think he's going to burst a blood vessel on this one. Let's listen to see what he's got to say.
All right, mate.
Oh, your microphone's gone mad.
Yeah, let me see if this is it. Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. That was fun. That was a really enjoyable. That's 2 hours of my life that I will not get back. But I saw it coming. I'm going to go for the Jurgen Klopp approach. I'm going to take the positives. We didn't lose by 3 goals this time. We only lost by 1. It should have been more, but we only lost by 1. So get in there. What's an improvement defensively? The Reds, they're coming back. Yada, yada. No. The manager. I'm going to start straight on the manager because I've been committing crimes by questioning this manager's decision and saying, he looks a bit off. He's not making the correct decisions. Don't get some of the decisions. No. How dare I question Jurgen Klopp? Since the World Cup, he's been the worst manager in the league. No, that was what I watched. Frank Lampard get sacked, and Jurgen Klopp since the World Cup has still been worse than him. None of his decisions make sense. The signing of Gakpo, great little player, off the left wing. We signed a left winger, and we're trying to force him up front. Why? We've actually devolved as a football team. In the space of a year, we went from challenging for a quad to devolving to the point where we want to go back 5 years and play with a false 9 again. Which I thought we'd move past that, but obviously not. We've bought Gakpo to try and play false 9, which is a stupid thing. Surely just go buy a natural false 9. But hey-ho. Mohamed Salah was still 6 months into a season making Mohamed Salah play like Mark Albrighton, hugging the touchline, trying to put crosses in. In the last minute of the game, 2-1 down, 95th minute, we've got a corner, and we've crossed it into Salah at the back post like he's going to do anything. Defense, awful. I thought, we might turn the corner with Joe Gomez, with Canate as a partner. No. Substitution, I don't know why he took Trent off. He was getting done by Mitoma, but everyone has been getting done by Mitoma. So I'm looking at the positives that Trent brings his team, and it's creativity, it's crossing, it's actual ability from right back. James Milner came on and was awful. He was awful, and I feel sorry for him because he shouldn't be playing there. He shouldn't be being brought on against the most informed winger in the league. But hey-ho, my manager knows all. I'm not allowed to question him. The midfield. Do you know what? We should not make subs. I think that's something I've realised as well. We should not make subs. If we try and make subs, we just get worse. There's no sort of different aspect to the game that we try and unlock. No. We just get worse. We just turn awful once we make subs because Fabinho is awful. Henderson is awful. Milner is awful. Jones is awful. Oxlade-Chamberlain is awful. We've got one good sub, it's Darwin Núñez, and we chuck him out of position. We played a team today where we have a front three, and at the back end of the game, only one person was in the correct position, and we still had him in the wrong role. It doesn't make sense. I don't get how we've devolved this badly. I don't get it. And at this point, this season, I've tapped out. I'm waiting for 40 points. Get me to the magic 40 mark, so I'm not getting relegated, and then I'm done. Because we're not doing anything else. We do not have the consistency or the defensive power to challenge for top four. We don't have the consistency or defensive ability to challenge for the Champions League, and we're out of every other cup. So just get me to 40 and let me tap out because this has been awful. And serious questions need to be asked about the manager. And I don't care how much he's done for us in the past. I love him for what he's done in the past, but we're not in the past now. This isn't 2019. This is 2023. And the manager is doing us more harm than good. And I haven't seen no inclination in previous years of his career that he's going to change it. We cannot be his guinea pig. We can't be that. So if coming into this season, I've seen nothing changing, nothing evolving, I'm going to point at him. I'm going to say, maybe it's time to go. Maybe it's time we cut ties, let you go where your legacy has not been tarnished at this football club. Because the worst thing he could do is stay till the end of his contract. And we just get stuck in this cycle where he can't keep changing it, where he can't keep evolving it. Because why is he in charge of transfers now? Why is he doing that? He'd never done that in the past, but he's doing it now, and look at how well that's turned out. There's so many problems with this football club, and the club are holding on to Jude Bellingham like he's the messiah. We signed Jude Bellingham, not on changes, because we need more than just one player to fix this. We are in such a bad state that we need about 5 or 6.
The thing is, you're not getting Jude Bellingham playing like this, and I think, listen. Clubs like Liverpool can sign top players when they're not in the Champions League or when they're in rebuild. You're Liverpool, but Jude Bellingham is in a kind of category of players who is potentially available, who has multiple clubs your size looking at him. There is no way he picks Liverpool, in my opinion. The only way it would happen is if you have new owners and there is a kind of £300 million budget in the summer. And he is one of a number of players that come in. Does that make sense? Then he'd look at it and go, well, if you just add him to this team right now, you'll be better. But that ain't going to help Trent. You know, it's not going to help because there isn't a centre-back at your club at the minute that looks capable of defending. I know that Van Dijk's out, but this was happening when he was fit. So it's nothing to do with Van Dijk being out. Liverpool have got major problems right now. And someone actually sent me a link while you were talking to Craig from the Anfield Agenda, who's made an argument as to I've got to watch the video, but he's basically made a video saying they will still make the top 4. There's no way you can believe you're making top 4 playing like this, surely, Tom?
No, not a chance. Because it's not like I'm talking about, City and Arsenal. I'm on about Fulham. Fulham will probably drop less points than us in the back half of this season. Brighton will drop less points in the back half of this season than us. United, Tottenham. Who else is there that's about Newcastle? All them lot are better than us this season. And whatever the reason you think it is, whether you think it's the players have, lost touch with the manager, the players simply aren't good enough anymore, whatever it is, I think there's a combination of all of it that comes into it. I do think the overarching theme is the manager and coaching staff, something has to change there. That's not a bad thing. Let's not act like these great successful teams in the past have never changed coaching staff. They went through about 5 assistant managers. Sometimes players just need someone else to listen to, a different voice, a different.
Well, one of the things Fergie did after about 10 years at the club is he started to remove himself regularly from being the main person training the team, and he delegated that out to multiple coaches. And then, as you say, he changed them every 4 or 5 years to refresh things, and that allowed him to stay at the club. If Fergie would have just tried to coach the team directly himself for 25, 30 years, he would have burnt out in the 90s, let alone lasting almost 2 more decades. This is the thing. I do feel that there is a genuine possibility that Jurgen Klopp has now burnt out. I did want to ask you as well a bit more detail on your thoughts on Cody Gakpo, because like, what have you made of his first, is it 4 or 5 games? And I know that 5 games, no goals. I don't think he's got any assists. I don't remember a moment of quality from him. Like, I genuinely don't.
I don't think anyone has a moment of quality in this team at the minute. I don't. I feel, look, is he what we needed now? And I've said we should have bought a midfielder with that money. We've been crying out for a midfielder for 4 fucking years, but hey ho, let's buy another attacker. But on him personally, I've got sympathy for him, because the man came in as one of the most informed left-hand side players in the world. And we all looked at it and thought, well, then Jota would go in the middle, then he'd have Gakpo and Diaz fighting for the left wing. Cody Gakpo has played about 30 minutes on the left, and the rest of it has been up front. And he's not... Because what's happened is my manager shit himself. That's what he's done. He's panicked. He's bottled it. My manager's bottled it and tried to go back to what he'd done 5 years ago, when we had, a false 9, 2 inside forwards, and then a workman midfield. He's tried to do that. But instead of having the best way I can describe it, we've tried to go to a system, but we're trying to use doors instead of windows, and we're trying to use windows instead of doors in the positions that we need. We're putting square pegs in round holes. The entire thing is broken. It's broken. And at this point, as a manager, you have to sit there and go, I want to play this style. I can't play this style. My players aren't good enough. We haven't got the right players, yada, 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 so I can't do it. So let me limit the bleeding. Let me limit the damage. Let me go play a system that plays to our strengths, limits our weaknesses. The system we're playing now limits our strengths and plays to our weaknesses. So teams just have so much fun. Cody Gakpo, this was his best performance today, and it still wasn't very good. But it was the best of a bad bunch, because he's not a striker. Why are we playing him up front? You've got Nunes and Salah, who have played up front this season. Play them up front. Gakpo played as a 10 in the World Cup. Play him in a 10. Go to a diamond. Go to a 4-2-3-1. Go to anything but 4-3-3, because it doesn't work. Maybe it can work next year. Maybe it can work down the line. But right now, it's not working. And what you're doing by sticking with this formation is stupid. It's negligence. And it's going to cost us the season. I don't want to get Europe. Shamelessly, I'd want Conference League so I could run away with it next year and go, we've won all 3 trophies. But I don't want that. I don't want to be watching us versus the back arse of whoever there is, NS Miura, or whoever Tottenham played years ago. Like, I don't care. I don't care for that. But we're going to be in it because my manager is cutting us adrift. I know these players are bad. Don't get me wrong, these players are awful. Certain players in this team, Fabinho has to go back to centre-back. You know how players get older and you pull them back from positions? Fabinho's 29. I need him to go away from midfield because he's not got the legs. Henderson needs to go. Milner needs to go. Ox needs to go. Like, the entire midfield needs to go. But I know what these players can do. It's the manager who's trying to make them do stuff they can't. It's the manager who's trying to force players into positions they can't play. And yes, you can question the players, and yes, you can question the ownership, but question the manager, because he's not immune from all this. If anything, he's the only common factor. He's the only person where you're going, he's involved in every aspect of where we've gone wrong this season. So question him. It doesn't mean you have to run him out, but you have to wonder why he's making half of these stupid decisions he's making.
Well, there's the super chat here said, Tom, at what point do you turn to Klopp out, as I'm seeing people saying it's maybe time now? How much worse does it have to get for Liverpool? Let me reframe that question. Do you feel like Klopp has to at least be given a season under the new owners?
No, I don't, because I think if he gets a season under the new owners and then we're in the same position, the experiment can't work. This is a manager who is supposed to be the elite of the elite, and he has been for the past 5, 6, 7 years, elite of the elite. But what we're at now is a point where I need my manager to prove what we pay him for. We gave him a new contract 8 months ago where he got everything he wanted. He got more power. He got more control over the decisions we made. You know how earlier you said Fergie started to pull away when he got older so he didn't get burnt out? My manager started to take control of aspects he didn't need to take control of. He's now in control of the transfers. He's probably in control of what the players eat in the dining room. Why? We had a successful system going. So if anything, you'd start to give other people within the club more control over that. But now my manager's taking control of it. The worst part about him is he's kept saying he wants to go. So he said 2022 will be me last year. No, 2024 will be me last year. No, 2026 will be me last year. At some point, I'm just going to say no, go. Because I'm seeing people say, oh, he said he wanted the new contract after 2026. We are Liverpool Football Club. We're not Jurgen Klopp FC. There is a football club after Jurgen Klopp goes. And for me, yes, before Jurgen Klopp came in, we were crap. That's fine. But Jurgen Klopp has come in and done his job. His job was to get Liverpool back to being successful. He doesn't deserve a divine right to put us back in the position we were in before him. So if he gets to the point where we are simply not good enough and it's on the manager, he's gone. Let's not act like he's untouchable. Let's not act like he can do no wrong. Because that is where other clubs have went wrong in the past. Being too loyal. At some point, I just love him and let him go. Let him go and do what he needs to do. But I can't do this anymore. I can't sit there and watch us go back to what we were before because of our own mistakes, because of our own negligence, because it's just criminal considering where we were a year ago.
Mate, listen, I completely hear you. And I think that you have to challenge it. You have to question it. You have to ask those questions. And I think that's what's really key. Asking the questions is the most important element because the world's very hyperbolic. And it's, why are you questioning Klopp? That means you hate him. Are you being ungrateful for what he's done? No, you are a Liverpool fan, not a Klopp fan. And you have to make the challenges. The manager needs the challenges because everybody needs to be kept on their toes. That's the way high-level business, high-level sport, high-level education works. Everybody's got to be kept on their toes, you know? And I think when you start to let standards slide and let things drop, that's where mistakes will start to happen. And certainly, he's been given more power at the club. Liverpool fans are educating me on that. He's making those mistakes. He's clearly making mistakes. The irony in it is this. Jurgen Klopp's a great manager, but the art of management is delegation. And you don't need... Do you think the CEO of Barclays Bank knows how to run every department of the bank? No, what he'll do, we've got a legal department. We'll get the best legal minds that we can to run it. You get the compliance department. You get the best compliant-minded people in. You know, you've got the sales teams and the acquisition teams. You get the best people at doing that job. You don't run it all. You delegate and hire. Okay, the right doctors, the right physios, the right recruitment team. And you may have a final say, but the final say has to be based on the education that you get from those specialists in that position.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, just maybe there's no coincidence that since Michael Edwards has gone, Liverpool have slowly regressed. Now,
you don't even need that. The last 6 months have been a shambles. We haven't had a club doctor until a month ago. Our director of football, who we spent 3 years training up to be in this position, it was his dream job. We were moulding him, perfect time and everything. He's now gone after 6 months because our manager has usurped him at every major decision. We were successful because we had the best in-house work. We had the best recruitment strategy. We had the best doctors, so we could ensure that players could push beyond what we thought the limits were. We had the best in-house staff. And the moment we got successful, we cut it off and gave all the credit to Klopp. The man himself has come in on his first day in the job and said, I'm not the one who will be successful. Everyone else will be because I can't do everything. But now he's trying to do everything. At some point, someone needs to sit down and go, no, it's not happening. You have to go and be a manager. And even I also believe that the coaching staff, I do believe that Pep Lijnders believes he's beyond us. I do. Not in terms of the size of the club, but in terms of his role. He's ready to go on and be a manager. You can see how much of an influence he's got on this team, which is great if he was the manager. But right now, it's like two heads clashing. I don't know what style. I don't know what team I'm watching. I don't know if I'm watching a Pep Lijnders team or if I'm watching a Klopp team. And I should be watching a Klopp team. I should be able to comfortably say my manager's in charge of the team that plays. But no, it's like he's the director of football and Pep Lijnders is the manager. We are a shambles from top to bottom. And whether that changes with new ownership or not, I don't know. But it has to change. We have to go get the best in class and director of football. Whether that's Paul Mitchell, who's at Tottenham, and there's been rumours that we'll get him. If he comes in, Paul Mitchell decides the transfers. Not Jurgen Klopp's eye test. Not him sitting there watching Darwin Núñez tear us apart at Anfield and going, that's my signing. And turning down the likes of Nkunku. turning down all these other players that our scouting staff have recommended because Darwin Núñez had a good 90 minutes against us at Anfield. There is data behind this, and data is what got you to the top. Why have we changed it? Why have we regressed? Why have we turned back as a football club? What is the reasoning? Because that is the most confusing part to me. We were on top, and it's not like other clubs have jumped up above us. We've brought ourselves down. We've dragged ourselves down to behind other clubs. Yeah. Tottenham haven't all of a sudden went on leaps and bounds and, jumped us. I think the only teams that have jumped us are Arsenal. And that's it. I think United are close to. But we've dragged ourselves down by sheer stupidity. And that's not going to change for the rest of the season. I'm expecting to see 4-3-3 for the rest of the season and shit games like this again and again and again. Like,
yeah, mate, I wouldn't be.
We'll finish bottom off. We'll finish bottom off. 100% we'll finish bottom off.
I don't know if you'll fall that low, but it's in all comps this year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's your 9th defeat. But you also got to throw into that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 draws as well. But you look at the weight of wins. Like you had a run of 3 wins on the bounce in all comps back in October. You then won 4 on the bounce in November in the lead up to the World Cup. But since that return, your last 10 games, 4 defeats, 2 draws, 3 wins. It's getting worse. And you look at your next 5 games, away at Wolves, should win, but they've been a little bit better under Locatelli. You then got the Merseyside derby, which you would expect to win at home. You always do. But then you're away to Newcastle. You play Real Madrid, away to Palace, and then at home to Manchester United.
Loss.
And by the way,
I can't sit there and say they're wins.
By the way, think about this legitimately. Man United are in good form. We don't know where we'll be then. We're taking it a few games at a time, but we're in really good form. We're on the rise. By the time we play you on the 5th of March at Anfield, that could be a game where if you don't get good results in the build-up to that, it could be a game where maybe not mathematically, but your season ends from a top 4 position. And imagine Man United from where we were last year to where you were, ending your season in March and stopping you from making top 4. You've got 3 or 4 days in the market. You guys have got to go and get a midfielder. You need some legs in that midfield. Putting that pressure, holding midfield is like, do you know how many top class players have there been at Bajcetic's age that could run a midfield? I don't know the last time I ever met one.
It's such a hard thing to do.
Attacking players and fullbacks at that age typically can do it. Centre backs, midfielders, it's a much harder role. Even strikers like centre forwards have to hold the ball up. Those roles, experience is key. And like the way he's been thrown out there as well, it's a bit like lambs to the slaughter. But listen, mate, I appreciate you coming on, Tom, and having your say. And I'm sure we'll chat again soon. Top man. Thank you very much indeed. Some super chats here before Samuel comes on. This is question, Terry. How bad does it have to get before people start to listen? I think Liverpool fans are definitely talking about Jurgen Klopp and what they should do. Is Gakpo any better than Ryan Babel? So far, Ryan Babel is better. Mohamed El Neni is available in the summer for free. Think about it. No Caicedo, no Trossard. That's the embarrassing bit. That's why I also say to people, 1 or 2 injuries in your team, it's no excuse to have a drop-off in performance like that. Maybe if it's 2 top-class teams playing each other, one's full strength, one's got 2 or 3 players missing, maybe. They should still be beating Brighton. Steve-O here says, same thing happened to Klopp at Borussia Dortmund. It's happened again with Liverpool, keeping the same players for years and years. Yes, it's crazy, the 7-year itch. Brighton have signed a midfielder, Caicedo going. We've got a transfer video dropping. It's mad, actually. The transfers, we've got a video dropping soon on transfers. A couple of done deals, a couple of updates. There's been some further updates on social since then, but we'll be dropping that video real soon. So when is it Klopp out time, now or a few months? I think it started now. I think it started. Do you think Klopp believes he is untouchable? That's a great question. I don't think he believes he's untouchable. I think he oh wow. Jurgen Klopp has announced that there'll be no thank you, Winter Surfer. He has said nothing will happen in this transfer window, not at all. It's all good. It's all good with his squad. I'm all good with this squad. So Klopp has said that ain't happening. I don't think he feels he's untouchable. At all. I think he probably knows inside that he's made mistakes, but like all people that have positions of power like him, there is an arrogance that comes with that. Klopp out, Hansi Flick in is what Joe says here. And Klopp's run out of Klopp has run out of inhalers. Nuno Tavares is a better winger than Gakpo. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, Gakpo's just been really poor. Liverpool will hold that. Cry, cry, cry. Love it. Another super chat. We've got Samuel coming on now. Samuel's a big Liverpool fan. What you saying, mate?
First of all, I'd like to say mental health is really important. Because right now I need to take a break from all of football. Oh, my head is hurting. My head is hurting. Do you know what it is? Right now, I'm the one that said this from like when we played United third game of the season. I said there's something wrong with this Liverpool team. People were going down to injuries and stuff like that. I was like, nah, there's something internally wrong with this Liverpool team. It just doesn't seem right. Couple months down the line, we're seeing this. It's the word I can describe it is negligence. This is negligence from, I believe, when we won the Champions League. Now, I know there's a lot of people blaming Klopp, and I know he has a lot to do with this. However, this is what I would say. I remember FSG saying when we won the Champions League, we are going to buy more players to build on that success. You absolute liars. You absolute liars. Because when we won the Champions League, who did we buy the next summer? Harvey Elliott, I think Steph Vandenberg. I can't remember the other guy that we bought. You don't go win the Champions League and then just buy those two youngsters. You don't go and do that. Cool, we won the Premier League the next season, but it was more like it was papering over the cracks of what is going to come, and negligence of not replacing Wijnaldum when he went. Because if you remember Wijnaldum, he was always available. He was hardly injured. He had the legs. He could control in the midfield. He was a brilliant player. When he wanted to leave, we didn't replace that. And then we're going down the line now. And guess what? The biggest thing that we need is midfielders. Jurgen Klopp's engine room in his system is midfielders, yet we go and sign Nunes and Gakpo. That does not make sense. And to be fair, if you're going to sign Nunes, okay, go and sign a guy for at least 40 million, 50 million, but spend 100 million on a midfielder at least, because that's where we really need it. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, just one more thing. To the point where I know there's a lot of Liverpool fans saying Klopp out now. I would say does not make sense. It does not make sense now to do that now. Mainly because of the fact we're going to get, I believe we're going to get new owners by next season. I feel like when the new owners come in, with the amount of money that they will spend on the club, because I think the club is worth now 4 billion. Or don't quote me on this, but it's just around about 4 billion. They're going to have a lot of money to be even spending on the club. So their best interest is to invest in the club to get their return of money. That's their best interest.
Yes.
So
100%.
With Klopp, it will be, I'm willing to wait until the new owners come in with Klopp, because if the owners have ambition, they want success. If Klopp is doing the same things that he's doing now, then they will tell him to go. If Klopp says gets the right players and it's kind of like run it back again, and we become successful again, then that's good for us. But it doesn't make sense for me to sack Klopp now. I understand he's making it hard for himself, and trust me, I'm not negligent in that part. But right now, it doesn't make sense right now. But I understand why people are questioning it.
Yeah, listen, and I agree. I think the questioning of it is right. I think putting the pressure on it is right. I still think he's done enough to at least get a year with the new owners. At least get a year. If there's new owners and they spend money, and they because the one thing you've got to be mindful of is sometimes we've had a habit. This has happened at clubs before where you can say, it's the players, we need to spend more. You bring new players in and things still don't improve. As an example. So I think Jurgen Klopp has done enough to at least get given the opportunity to bring in a couple of midfielders, some more defenders, and try and go again. But if you go through next season and there isn't really a improvement, because the one thing I notice is this: as much as there's a lack of quality in certain areas, there is a lack of effort from the team. There's a lack of zip. There's almost it's almost as if these players have just lost a little bit of desire to play for Jurgen Klopp, and that may not even be because Klopp's done something wrong. It's just we're tired now. We want to do something different. Maybe want to try a different style of play because football evolves. And I remember saying to Liverpool fans, it'll evolve soon, and maybe the fullbacks won't be the chief creators and it'll go into a different position. And now suddenly we're seeing the return of number 9s, which means the inside forwards are spending more time out wide on wings, which means the fullbacks get forward less because everybody's starting to use inverted fullbacks now and not fullbacks that convert into wingers when you attack. So suddenly it's a case of, and if everybody's systems start to change and Liverpool's don't, you'd end up, but you go and buy those number 9s still. Suddenly you're almost in between two styles of play and it doesn't quite work and click together. So you just, and I'm just speaking from a fan's point of view here, that I think he deserves another year with these new owners, but question marks have to be placed against him because what Liverpool fans can't allow to happen is for Jurgen Klopp to stagnate, because that's the one thing that Arsenal got wrong. The last 2 or 3 years of Wenger shouldn't have happened. He should have already gone. And ironically, yes, they got it wrong with Unai Emery, but then they got it right bringing in Arteta, and that's taken a little bit of time. But why did it take Arteta so long? Because they spent 2, 3, maybe even 4 years too long with Wenger. Then they got it wrong after Wenger, and then this new manager had to come in and fix that whole mess. If you let Klopp go now, or maybe after one more year, I don't think there's a big problem. But if Klopp ends up going backwards 2, 3, 4 years on the bounce, the next appointment they get wrong, suddenly you're getting towards the best part of a decade that you're not competing, and you need to be really careful as a club that doesn't happen, because we've all fallen into it. No, even after Moyes' first bad season, when LVG came in the next year, everybody was like, United will be back soon. You fast forward a decade, and we're starting to get there. No one thought it was going to take this long. Samuel, great. Go on.
I was going to quickly say, I think his fine line is, as I said before, we're not going to, Klopp is not going to stay forever. Let's be honest. Klopp is not going to stay forever. He's not to Liverpool. He has been a great part of Liverpool being successful again, but he's not Liverpool himself. But also we need to not be reactionary and be too quick with it. That's how we make mistakes. Because if you look at the likes of how, even as you said it, with Man United or Chelsea and stuff, when they've sacked managers maybe a bit too quickly and not actually giving them time, then look at the problems starting to happen. But then again, you look at the other side with Arsenal, they stuck with a manager for too long, and look what happened. So what I would say is that my last point is that I'm so glad that there's going to be new owners. It's like it came at the right time for me, especially at where we're at. But yeah, that's all I've got to say.
Mate, I appreciate it, Samuel. Thanks for coming on, mate. We'll speak again soon. Top man. Thank you, brother. Thank you. There's a super chat that came in here. It says, Japanese American Guna here. Happy to sign Trossard, but imagine Martinelli or Mitoma as options on the left wing for Arsenal, and plus with Tommy. I will say this, like, Mitoma looks good. He looked good. And do you know what we can't shy away from when it comes to this game? And I think we need to be really kind of mindful of not doing this. Liverpool went 1-0 up and threw it away. Like, they took the lead and they weren't able to stop Brighton. And Mitoma was a big part of that. And there's some really good players in this Brighton team. But how many of the Brighton team that started today, I'm going to look at it now. Mitoma, Liverpool would probably sign him. Would they sign Ferguson? Not right now. Would they sign Welbeck? No. Would they sign Solly March? No. McAllister? Maybe. Gross? No. Lamptey? No. Webster? No. Dunk? No. Estepinian? Probably not, but maybe in the future. So there's probably 3 of the Brighton lineup that Liverpool would look towards signing or would sign. None of the bench players that came on they would sign. You wouldn't even bring them in to improve your team. So there's no excuses. But on Mitoma, yeah, Sean, a sensational looking player. He really, really is. He looks like he's going to be an absolute baller if he continues to go. Where did he come in from? What club was he at before he played for the before he was at Brighton. And even this season, he's like, Rise has been kind of slow because obviously Trossard was playing. I was looking here now. Where was he playing beforehand? Oh, so they literally bought him over from, I can't pronounce the name of that team, but it looks like a Japanese team. Yeah. Kawasaki. Is that it? Kawasaki? Is that how you pronounce it? So literally, man came straight from Japan to here. Damn. And how old is he? What is he? 25, though. He's going to turn 26. Interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. Very, very interesting indeed. Hang on, is that so? Are they not even a professional team? Or they? Hang on a second. They're a professional football team. But someone was saying he was at university, but maybe they're connected to a university. Maybe they kind of do it that way in Japan. I don't know, but yeah, he looks a very, very good talent. Potter and the team found these Brighton players. They should get dibs on them without rubbish prices. Plus, Potter built the Brighton team a small budget image, which coming to Chelsea is a theatre near you soon. Yeah, listen, I listen. This is why what Chelsea are doing. I'm not someone who's slagging it off and laughing at it not working just yet, because I think they're legitimately going to get it right. I do mean that. He was playing at uni 4 years ago. Yeah, he would have been. Yeah, I heard he was. Yeah, but he didn't come straight from uni into this. He was playing professionally in Japan first. But considering this is his first European club and he's come to the hardest league in the world, phenomenal from Mitoma. Absolutely phenomenal. But listen, everyone who's tuning in, I want to say a big, big thank you to all of you. Thank you to all my super chatters. Transfer news on the way from the Football Terrace. We're back tomorrow with more content, including the Top 6 show returning as we build up to the semi-finals and, of course, of the Carabao Cup and the return of the Premier League next weekend. I'm sure it's going to be as epic as ever. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.